Okay, what's up, everybody? I know some of us are jumping off of Kendra's Zoom. We had quite an audible, actually, as that Zoom just kind of got pulsed out on us, and then we were like, oh, that's about 30 minutes before ours. So appreciate everyone for audibling. And tonight we're going to have two amazing CoCs covering the basics of social media. And truly, it will be the basics. It's like, okay, I just signed up. Maybe I don't know anything about Facebook, and like, where would I get started? And kind of what is my intention on using Facebook? So I'm going to keep my part really short. I appreciate everyone for their patience and their understanding. And Lacey and Wendy, I especially appreciate you two for jumping on this evening and hosting with us, especially Wendy, as I know you're even 1 hour further ahead on the Eastern time zone out in New York. For those that do not know Lacey or Wendy, Wendy's, like I just said, New York. She has a tremendous story, kind of a lot to do with the brain. And you can ask her that maybe outside of the Zoom because we want to keep it tight. It's a phenomenal story, definitely one to check out. And she's an awesome mom, also prove her. She's an adrenaline junkie now. It's awesome. And Lacey is down in Mississippi, and she I'm looking right at you. And one, she is an amazing cook. So if you ever get in her presence and she's cooking, just kind of like linger around. I promise you, you will not be upset. Amazing wife, amazing mom, and also a dynamic prover in our community, really championing the ketone conversation. So two brilliant women tonight to train on the basics. And it's good that I'm maybe not doing this because I usually go way in depth because I grew up with technology. So we wanted to, that was like 12 years old, you get your little mic or your internet router, you're kind of running from there. So I'm going to give it over to Lacey and Wendy, and I know they have an amazing, I kind of saw the framework for this evening laid out, and let them go. And if anyone has any questions, put it in the comments, as well as make sure you stay muted. And then they will have a section for kind of question and answer and engagement here near the end. So Lacey and Wendy, I'm not sure who's going to go first. I appreciate you both, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for inviting us on to do this. We appreciate you as always. And last year at this time, because of you, I'm the adrenaline junkie because of you. So that's been 1 year since we jumped out of a plane together. So I appreciate you for everything that you did for me. So thank you. And hey to everybody on here, if you could put on your video so we can see your beautiful faces. I'd love to see your faces. And yes, I am from New York. I started being a promoter in April of 2018, and I decided to promote in June of 2018. And I went up to Toronto and listened to Katie Rollins and Michael Rutherford, which was amazing. If you guys ever get a chance to see either of them, I would totally recommend it. We had a great time there. And we are going to talk about what Katie Rollins did with the social media 101. So we're going to keep it really basic tonight. And I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, just go ahead and put them over there. The first thing that we're going to go over is our profile picture. It should be of our beautiful faces. Without sunglasses on would be ideal. So as a photographer up here in New York, one of the best things you can do is kind of get in front of a mirror, get that lighting perfect. You don't want all the shadows under our eyes or it to be dark. And it should just be a great picture of you, not you and your kids, not just your kids, not a flower, not a dog. People would appreciate to see what you look like. So that's just, I changed mine today because I thought I had a picture of the dog and I on there. And so it's just a real close-up of my face in front of a window. So the lighting is good. So everybody should be changing that up to get that looking perfect. And Lacey is going to go over the next part. So take it away, Lacey.
All right, so I'm Lacey from Mississippi. It's good to have y'all on the call, and thanks, Ethan, for having the confidence in us to help share this conversation with our team, our whole team, Prove It teams. Anyway, I've been drinking ketones for a little over a year and have been promoting them since I started drinking them. So accidentally, but anyway. If the first thing I want to say is, like Ethan said, he grew up with technology. I did not. I am almost 50, and so if I can do this, you can do it. But Wendy, you talked about the profile picture. I'm going to talk about your cover photo. And on the cover photo, that can be something like, I know we like to express ourselves, and so that's kind of what we can use our cover photo for. You can, if you want to put another picture of yourself, that's great. But I was in Playbook in Atlanta with Jessie Lee and Dustin. And of course, we all know she is like this social media guru. And her recommendation is making your cover photo something that expresses you, something that
Real quick, if you are
is
not on mute, will you please mute? And Wendy, I made you the host, so I can't do it right now.
Not working.
Sorry, my squirrel brain is like.
Okay, we're good. I knew that. It's so challenging. Thanks, Lacey.
Okay, so anyway, Jessie Lee suggests that we make our cover photo something that's an expression of ourselves, something that has meaning to us, and that can be you know, a goal that you're working towards, or it can be like your team at an event. It can, you know, a group picture. It can be your family. That's the portion of your social media page, your profile, that you can use to, you know, that way it can identify you and your, whether it be your business or your personal, you know, something personal about yourself. So Wendy can speak to that as what that combination will do for you.
Okay, so the one thing that we did up in Toronto, I don't know if anybody else was there. I know Denise was there. We went on our Facebook and we handed it to the person next to us, and we had about 2 minutes to look at their profile and kind of just scroll through it a little bit and to see if we knew anything about the person sitting next to us from their Facebook profile picture, their cover profile picture, and what they were posting. So this is your digital business card. So start to think about it as if it is a business card. So I wouldn't really suggest that you put much political. If you learn from, you know, when my parents taught us, is that nobody should talk about political things, because you're going to turn off half of your friends if you start doing that. So if you love dogs, then you should have some pictures of your dogs up there. Or if, like me, if you go on, you should see right off the bat that I'm a Jeep girl through and through. And you should know that the second you get onto that, so all of my Jeep friends know that they can connect to me. But also start scrolling down through the posts that you make. And are you posting things about who you authentically are? So keep that in mind. If you don't know, maybe ask a friend to scroll through, one of us, your coach, whoever, and we can look through and just tell you right off the bat whether I know where you're going with that. So that's something to keep in mind. And Lacey, you're going to talk about some of our posting. I don't know where she went. Lacey, are you there?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I was not taking myself off mute. But anyway, so am I echoing? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, on your post, the most important thing regarding posting is make sure that when you post, that each of your posts should be educational, inspiring, or entertaining. If it's not one of those things, then it's, really look and think about it before you post. If it's not one of those things, you're better off not posting it. There are, like Wendy said, times and places for everything, and you want to make sure that whatever you are posting reflects you personally, and is very intentional, so that it's going to create conversations. Sure, Taryn. The three things that it should be is educational, inspiring, or entertaining. It doesn't have to be all of those, but it needs to be, one of those things in there. You are welcome. But like I said, being intentional and making sure that it is, like Wendy said, authentically you, and gonna be something that will either attract people to you, or it will educate the people that are watching you, or inspire people to join you, and creating conversations to be able to, maybe not necessarily, it may not be about your business, because everything's not going to be about our business, but everything is with the intention of getting conversations with new people to be able to talk about our business. So it is, I'm trying to think, the one thing I had to do was also on posting is also making sure that you're engaging with people as you post, and as they comment. With that being said, the problem I used to have is I used to be judgmental of who I engaged with. So wrong. That is terrible. But I will be totally honest with you. I used to not engage with people like on their pages if they never engaged on anything in mine. I looked at it as they're not engaging, so they don't want me to engage with them, or that they were being haters by not engaging on my stuff. But I finally learned from Jessie Lee, she was brutally honest and was like, get over yourself. Get over yourself. And I had to get over myself. So now I engage and post on everybody's stuff because I want them to see my feed, and that has to do with algorithms and stuff. But Wendy, you want to add to that?
Yeah, so if you're going to post something, make it really, really intentional. If you're just going to post that you're going to the movies and you're going to turn off your phone for the next 2 hours, really just put that maybe under your Insta story before you just post and ignore your phone. So by being intentional, when you're posting it, yes, you want to be authentic to you, but you should always be kind of thinking, who am I going to educate, inspire, or entertain at this time? And whether or not you have the time to deal with that. So you should take about 15 minutes after you put up that post so you can be engaging with people about your post. If you're just going to go into the movies, I would suggest post it when you get out of the movie and maybe a takeaway from the movie that might get people to go, other than just saying that you're going to the movies. The other thing is putting out information that's going to get comments. So it might be a silly question like, what's the name of a song that has a color in it? If you look at mine, there's 100 comments there running strong. So that's going to have more people seeing my page than if you're posting and you don't have much interaction. Then you're better off probably not posting something like that. So if you could ask a question, ask their opinion on something, those are the kind of posts that are going to get more comments back and forth. Facebook wants you to be social. That doesn't just mean people are writing to you. you should go and write to other people maybe before you post. So if you have a short list of people that you are intentionally trying to sell ketones to eventually, you might want to go and comment on some of their things before you post it. So that way your post is going to come up in their feed too. So being intentional before you just post and ignore it is ideal. I think just putting up the polls and questions, like if you do who did it? Kate just did one with which bed for her dog, and she's got a ton of them. I put on one about what do you think this box of my mommy fuel cost? It was just the shipping, but I just wanted people to guess, and then I was going to give a 5-day to them. Those things like that are good. Ethan does it a lot with his receipts after he goes and gets a whole bunch of keto-friendly foods from wherever he shops, whatever state he's in, and I think that those are kind of fun. So I think that's pretty good. Lacey, do you want to add anything to that?
Just like you said, being intentional, make sure you're going and just commenting, like always look through your list. I know I look through mine all the time, my friend list, or as I'm scrolling through Facebook and looking at what other people say. Like I make little short list of, or a notebook paper that I have beside the bed or whatever, as I'm scrolling at night and looking and seeing who's, posting and commenting, and just be like, that person really could use ketones or whatever. And if I don't reach out to them right then, I have it on my list to do at a later time, or make sure that I'm being more active, engaging on their page, so that I'm assured that my feed shows up in theirs so that they're watching. Like I said, I had to get over myself with this, a couple of people, and believe it or not, one of them just joined the community this week and just joined as a promoter tonight. So it really does work. I guess the next thing we'll talk about is the frequencies of posting. And I know we've heard several different ways. One of the ways that I learned at Playbook was one of the suggestions that Jessie Lee made. And hers was called 421. And like I said, there's different ones. Wendy's going to go over another that we've talked about before and kind of simplify that. But 421, it's like they said, just whatever will work for you, whatever you will do. I personally was struggling with trying to make sure I kept the formula going correctly and that sort of thing before I was doing my lives, and I was really getting into my head and overthinking things. And this one really made it simple to me. So it's called 421, and what it is 4 times a week you're going to want to post about things that are about you, or things that you want, or like, for example, for me, it would be 4 times a week, I'm going to post about travel or my family, or an inspirational quote for the day, or food, because that is honestly, those are the things that interest me, and those are the things that are truly about me right now in my life. Then 2 would be post 2 times a week about either goals or things to do that kind of direct people towards your business, curiosity for your business. And so like traveling a lot because of your business, all the events, or going to the different cities for Playbook or Epic or Keto Academy and more, or you're going on a vacation thanks to your side gig that allowed you that, or shopping if you got to make a purchase that you normally wouldn't, thanks to your side gig, or like mine would be cooking and making things low carb and talking about me doing low carb and drinking my drink. Cars, like when you hit COC or when you hit rank 5 and you start talking about your car that you're going to get because of your company, or actually drinking ketones. But definitely not posting shaker bottles, not posting packets, that sort of thing. Making it curiosity posts that are geared around your business. And the one is going to be once a week. Jessie Lee calls it the spank. And so on the spank, that's where you're asking them for the business. That's where you're going in and you're talking about, you're wanting, to get them interested and talk about your business or the product. That's when she goes on. She's been going for the last 8 years, I think she said, live every single Monday night. And before she was doing ketones, she started this when she joined her first, it wasn't community-based marketing then, it was multi-level marketing. But she started doing a live every single Monday night and has continued that for 8 years. And now it is talking about, ketones. It is talking about the flavor packs. She does show before and afters of people that she knows. But that once a week, you're talking about, my thing is I haven't been talking about like straight up the product and holding up, talking about flavors and stuff. Mine's more going to be about like 5 and 10 day trial packs to try what it is that I'm doing. I'm still wanting to, create curiosity and keep that going as long as I can. So that is the 4-2-1. It's more about how many days a week that you post those types of things. Wendy, you want?
One thing that we did learn from Ray Higdon, we did that 14-day challenge, and he spoke about don't go and just Facebook like 5 or 6 times a day. 1 to 3 as your max that you should be posting. If it's anything else, put it on the Insta story. That's like your reality show there. Do as much as you want there, but make sure you keep Facebook posts kind of clean. So I just wanted to say that. So I don't know if most of us in this group have learned the 2-1-2. So that's a great new thing that we could add in. But we always did these circles. I don't know if you remember, they would tell us to put the circles, the 3 circles on a piece of paper and then write all those things in that. So Katie Rollins did something totally different, and she did 3 columns. I don't know what happened, if my brain just all of a sudden got it. But Ethan, as many times have you done the 2-1-2? I didn't get what to do with that. But in Toronto, what we did was we wrote, you probably can't see this, but 1 was all about me, 1 was about the product, and the dream. So it was the same thing, but underneath what we did was wrote Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesday was prove it, and the dreams were Thursday and Friday. So in my head, one of the things on the top is I love my Jeep. So I almost think I put on my little Jeep ball cap and I Jeep it all day long. I find any kind of group, like I even found a group with people that just have Jeeps in the same color as me, which makes it a smaller amount of people. So I'm constantly on Monday, if you look, like I'm just Jeep, 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 Jeep. Any 5 minutes that I have, I'm responding, I'm putting things up there. It made it make sense to me. Like maybe I can just do that for 5 minutes and then I could be a dog mom for 5 minutes and just be on pages that have to do with yellow Labradors, and that's it. Because I'm finding groups that are smaller, they can remember me more, and I'm, I don't just go on there and look. I know I talked to Karen, had asked me, And I said, you love your dogs. Like, tell people that you're giving them ketone ice cubes for inflammation. Well, maybe you don't say inflammation, but for their joints or whatever. So that's what I'm intentionally going and educating them a little bit about pure therapeutic ketones, even though they're not really asking to be educated, but they're kind of being educated on Tuesdays. I just think that's my dog day, and it's dogs, dogs, dogs. And it made my mind not feel so, well, wait, when do I do this? When do I talk about my dreams? I do that on Thursday and Friday, and that really worked well for me. So the other thing that I did kind of start working on was I got this like thin, like a grocery style type thing. And that day when I think of people and I can check, you know, when things just pop into your head, I just write them down. And then I intentionally am looking, and I kind of will just put a little Post-it note. This day I went and I kind of checked all those people, checked on them on their, you know, commented. That way I'm reminding myself when I go back and look to keep my feeds in their spot. So all my dog people are on one sheet, things like that. And it kind of has helped me a ton just having this book of names. That's all I call it, is a book of names. So I think that it just works so much better. And finding those smaller groups, like Karen just goes to the people who have Huskies. It makes it like maybe there's 2,000 people on that one, as opposed to just being a dog mom and there's 70,000 on there. I find that's helpful. All right, go ahead, Lacey, if you want to talk about the birthdays.
Yeah, so like Wendy was saying, like, make sure you're engaging. Make sure whenever you do make the post or you do your live and stuff that you're going to have time to engage. But that's the huge part, the engaging with people, liking that they liked your comment. You know, always go back. Like they'll say, the money's in, like, the fortune's in the follow-up. Well, I have to say, like, the money's in the DM too, you know, so everything goes down in the DM. So when you know, they like your comment or they like your post, they comment on there, or like with birthdays and friendiversaries, you want to do everything in the DM. I mean, it's fine to comment on their page, because I've struggled with the fact that I have friends that are going to, well, great. Yes, I want to be very personable, you know, and comment and wish them a happy birthday along with like extra little note. But I also don't want to hurt their feelings, not put it on their wall. So I just do both. I do a like happy birthday on the wall. So, I mean, you don't have to do that. I do it just because I feel bad. I think they're going to be like, well, she didn't do it publicly. So, but make sure you go in the DMs and do happy birthday, or, you know, any of your friendiversaries, that sort of thing. Just make sure you go in the DMs and do that. And then just like on when people comment and post on your lives or give a answer to your poll, make sure you engage with them in the DMs. That way, that's where you can really, you know, something that's triggered within your conversation will bring about the business. I guarantee you, every time, if you just do it. And then also it'll be a place where you can always go back later and follow up, and it won't be weird, you know, that you've just like thought of them again. If that makes sense.
If you guys want to just like maybe put your hands up, do you want any information about doing the lives? We can keep it pretty short for you. We have a couple of tips for your lives if you would like. Let us know. We've got one hand, 2, 3. Okay. All right. So we're going to, Brent, I know you probably know this, but we're going to take a piece of what we learned from our 14-day challenge and kind of help you guys out to get started with your Facebook Lives. So the 212 live What actually started to work for me is if I'm going to do, like I did the waffles on Saturday, but on Friday I asked a question about the music, like the color titles. So all of those people now, I had so many comments. And then if you take like 2 to 5 minutes before you go live and you just start commenting on either those people who wrote back to you or a whole different group, or if you have that short list of people that you know, like I have a woman that's been watching me for a whole year. She has not bought yet, no matter how many people have talked to her. But I will intentionally go and like and comment. You can't just like, you have to comment on some of her stuff before I'm going to go live, so that I will come up on her page. Just a reminder, I'm still here, I'm still doing it. Keep your lives to like around 6 minutes. I mean, if you go to 8, I don't see that being a problem, but if you go to 25 minutes, it gets a little lengthy. I've seen Jessie Levy on there for a long time. I like to do my cooking there. I like to have my meal half made or have already made a batch so that I can show them what it looks like while I make another batch. So instead of doing a double batch, I'll just do them separately. So I have both. And then you should take about 15 minutes to engage with the people that are writing to you. They do not want to comment like, hey, what's that recipe? And then they don't ever hear from you again. So again, just like Lacey said, the follow-up is the most important. So if they write to me and they're kind of interested, I'll PM them that recipe. I'll ask what they like about low carb, low sugar, you know, how their goals have been met or things like that. So it starts the conversation. And for as long as I've been doing it, I still have people that are like, oh, it's so hard. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I do the, you know, pure therapeutic ketones. And so many of them don't know what it is. Like we all think that everybody knows what it is because our Raz is up for it. And we probably get, if you guys are anything like me, I get every keto advertisement, but they probably don't. So we think that it's everywhere. It's just coming up because we write about keto and that's what we're focused on, but they're not seeing it. So I usually kind of will throw that in. I don't say, hey, do you want to buy ketones for me? I just say, oh, I don't really know because. And when you take that time, that last 15 minutes of your live, like you've put up your live, you shared it, and then you've engaged with those people, it's really helpful. And then it's helpful to go back into some of your old ones, and there might be a few lingering people that have written and we didn't write to, so that would be a good time to bring that back up.
I'll say too that when you go back, even if you don't have comments that you didn't comment to, like I'll go back a lot of times after I've used the opportunity to share like a recipe or something, but it's been a long time since that one, but I would like for that live to pop back up. I'll go in and comment under somebody's thing, like, or re-like it, or follow up and ask them, did they make the recipe and what they thought about it? And that way it brings that live back up. You know, it wasn't like, you know, I was genuinely like, want to know, did you make it? Did you like it? What did you think about it? And that way you can start that conversation, especially if it's somebody that maybe didn't, you know, really start engaging a whole lot, but you want to follow up with them. The other thing to Brent's question, asking about the thoughts on engaging on while you're in a live. My thing with that is I'll engage a little bit, but not a whole lot, because you're going to want to have more conversation in the DMs than you'd want to give it. You want to give as little information on your live, more curiosity and get interest, and then you want to have all your conversation in the DM. So if you divulge too much in your live, or like just if you post the recipe in the comments right away, then what's the use in them having a conversation with you? So, and two, it's going to use up a lot of your time, like really engaging a whole lot. Like, you know, if somebody says, hey, or they jump on, or you know, acknowledge that you're on and thanking them. Like I said, I think the more that you can allow to be in a private conversation, the better off you are on all of it.
Also, I know a lot of you guys did the 14-day, but call to action. You know, I'm just as guilty to remember to do that. So it's almost like I have to put up like a little note to just do a call to action. I don't always do it, but I do try as best I can to get that call to action in there. So for sure, private message, and then put that into this book. This book has been like, it took me a year to finally figure this out. Like when we were at Moore, Nick Martinez, he like has this book of like these little blocks he talked about, and somebody else did these Post-it notes everywhere, and I was like, I just can't, I don't get it. And then when I kept it as simple as just writing, it just has their name, and sometimes it might have that they're a Jeep person or whatever. It has helped me. And then when I put this little thing, that's kind of just what I talked about with them, or the date that I was working on those people. And I think it's been helping me get more views on my lives. And also, if you share that after you do your live, like if I make dog food, which I did, then I share it onto the dog groups, so then they see it. So that's helpful too. So do you guys have any more questions? I don't want to keep you too late. I know we started late, but does anybody have any questions? If you want to mark them, you can unmute yourself. Is that a question, or?
She said it was great info.
Oh,
thank you, Taryn.
All right. Well, I think that we've taken enough of your time. If you have any questions, I'm always up for helping people out too. I know Brent and I like to talk about our recipes or what we're cooking, or getting ideas off of each other, which I think it's great that we have this community of people. So feel free. I know I just unfriended a bunch of you, which I'm sorry, but that had to do with our coming up more. So that was something we learned on the Ray Higdon. So don't be upset. I didn't do that on purpose, but we're trying to get our numbers and our algorithm. I can't even say that word.
Yep, it messes up the algorithm. So yeah,
probably unfriend you. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be. It's not anything about you. Feel free to PM me, and I appreciate you all for everything that you've given to us. And I hope you have a great week and get started on those curiosity posts and working on your page. Don't delete what you've done. Just fix it and make it as you go forward.
Yeah, and make sure Ethan will be posting sometime soon. I'm not sure what this next series, but there will be an advanced social media. And when I say advanced, don't let it scare you, because there's nothing advanced here as far as technology goes. I'm just extremely challenged. So like I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. But there'll be one with the advanced, and I'll have a lot to do with like stories, Insta stories and Facebook stories. And you'll definitely want to be in that, because that is a huge tool. I've noticed lots of interaction through my stories. So you'll definitely want to be on that. That'll be a great one to listen in. So thanks for being on.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.